everyone, and welcome back to the Women Unleashed podcast. You have your co-hosts here today, Taylor, which is me, and Britt. And we also have a special guest with us today, which is Tracy Kearey, who is also my mum. So everyone say hello.
Hi, welcome, Tracy.
Hi, thanks for having me, Britt and Taylor.
Yes. Well, we're very excited for you to be on our episode. Today, we're going to be talking all about you.
One of my favourite subjects.
So we've got some questions prepared, and we also want to learn about the charity that you're an ambassador for in Brisbane as well. So I guess to start with, do you want to introduce yourself? Tell us a little bit about you. Well,
Sure.
Our listeners, because I know you, but tell our listeners about you.
Okay, well, as Taylor said, my name's Tracy, and I own a mortgage broking company. So I've been a mortgage broker for over nearly 26 years on June 30, which is a very long time. And I obviously started when I was 12 because I'm very young. I have a business of 9 mortgage brokers now. However, myself, I do look after a lot of clients. I have a big database, which I've looked after for over, nearly 26 years. Obviously, as you mentioned, I'm also your mum. So I have 2 beautiful daughters, Taylor and Ella. Ella's 19, travelling the world. Taylor and I are constantly living our lives through her at the moment. Mm-hmm. She's having so much fun. I'm also nan to Sophia Rose, who is Taylor and Will's daughter, my little delight. She brings us so much joy and delight in a sometimes world that can, have some ups and downs. So outside of being a nan, a mum, a business owner, I'm also a property investor. I also am an ambassador for a charity, and I have an amazing family and friend network who support everything that I do.
Amazing. That was a great introduction.
Thank you.
Did you have a question, Britt, you wanted to ask?
Oh, Lord, where do I start, Tracy? And, I concur. It does look like you started when you were 12. Like, you look amazing. It's definitely obvious where Taylor got it from.
I keep saying genetics. It's genetics. Just remember.
Apologies. I have a little bit of a cold, and if I don't hit the mute button quick enough, then it's going to be on record. All right, so let's get into it. Why mortgage broking?
Very good question. When I was growing up at school, I did not like school, so I did leave school at the end of year 10, which is very different to what it's like today. I always wanted to be a hairdresser. That was my dream. And it just never panned out. Life had obviously other ideas for me. I ended up doing lots of different jobs. And then when Taylor was born, I found myself selling skincare direct and doing wedding makeovers and all that kind of stuff, which I really loved. And then unfortunately, my marriage to Taylor's father broke down. And a friend of ours was working with Aussie Home Loans at the time. And he rang my mum and dad, and my mum is or was my biggest supporter. And he said, I think Tracy would be really good at this. So, why don't you see if she'll ring me and I want her to come and work with me. And at the time, Mum was looking after Taylor. And I came in 8 or 9 o'clock that night. I'd been doing some work part-time, to make ends meet. She said, ring such and such. He's got an opportunity for you and, you can be a mortgage broker. And I went, no, I can't. I can't do that. I have no idea how to do that. She looked at me, and my mum is the sort of person that you don't really say no from. Not because she's terrifying, but because when she's got you, she's got you. And she got the finger out, which was very serious, and she went, Tracy, you are picking up the phone, you are calling him, and you are doing it. Okay, Mum. So that was kind of the person that backed me to get into the industry was my mum. I had no idea what I was doing. I was clueless. I actually walked into Aussie Home Loans on the 30th of June, 1998. I didn't even realise that was the end of the financial year. Like, I was extremely out of my comfort zone. So thanks to my mother, nearly 26 years later, I've had an amazing career in an industry that, first of all, I never really knew existed. I didn't know much about it. And now it's, it's become bigger than I could have ever anticipated, the career I've had and the journey, personal growth as well.
Wow. What a cool story. And your mum, Taylor's Nana, like Nan, just sounds like an exceptional woman, to believe in you, not knowing what mortgage broking requires herself either.
100%. She just believed in I could do it. She said, "You'll be great." I went, "Okay." So she was right.
She was 100%. She was
And
barely ever wrong, really.
and it takes believing in other people's belief in you to really take a risk, right? You just have to jump and know that they've got your back.
100%. Because at the time I did not back myself. I guess I didn't then, and I did as my journey went along. But my mum backed me first. So I think, it's important with anything that you might want to do in life, is to have, if you have someone in your corner like that, you can do it, right? Because I think there's a lot of times where we doubt ourselves and go, I have this idea, and it may be a career in mortgage broking, or it may be doing your podcast, or it may be whatever it is. And I think that if you don't back yourself, to have someone that backs you first then starts to give you that piece of encouragement and belief. I've also learned that when you do want to take on a new challenge or set up a new business or start a new career, whatever it may be, talk to people that are already doing it. Talk to people that already have success, even in their industry, even if it's not yours. Because I've, through my career, found people that haven't maybe had the success, or they like to call it luck, which I think you do make your own luck. So, I was lucky where I started, and when I started in the industry, I had some good mentors, and then I created the rest of the opportunities myself. But by talking to people that have never done it, they will always say don't do it because of their own fears.
Yes, 100%. Yeah, and you've got to understand where they're at and whether or not they're being successful or are where you want to be, as to whether or not you take that advice.
Correct. So, I think talking to someone that's done it or has is successful in whatever career it is, they're the sort of people you want to gravitate to when you are setting something up or you have an idea, because people that don't understand it, and they also can be jealous, I should have thought of that myself. So, you want to be, surround yourself with people that support you and will continue to, but as you grow, you'll have more confidence yourself to back yourself.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So do you have mentors now? So it sounds like you had mentors previously, but do you still have?
Sorry, yes. My mum was probably a very different type of mentor, and I probably didn't realise it being young, not understanding what a mentor was. As I said, leaving school at year 10, not that I think I've got different types of street smarts and knowledge, but I didn't really understand business coaching and mentoring. I kind of fell into that as well. So my mum probably was my first mentor on it from a different angle. And then when I started at Aussie Home Loans, Ian Kane, who was my business partner, he was the number one broker at Aussie nationally. And he basically took me under his wing and spent a lot of time with me and introduced me to all the right people and the connections. So he was a very big influence and mentor at the time. And then as time goes on, it's like the old, Mr. Miyagi, wax on, wax off. It's like you become the teacher. You kind of not outgrow, that's not the right word, but, your strengths and your skill set, you would grow yourself. So, you kind of become them. So he was probably my first mentor in business. And then I was really fortunate, Lynette Pellman, a really amazing lady that set up Women's Network Australia. I ended up years ago meeting her at one of her events, and we just got along extremely well. So I used to be an ambassador for, a region of the Women's Network. And then years later, she changed in what she was doing. And so now she does all my PR and works with me in my business and mentors me from a business perspective, not in finance, but just from a broader spectrum. And then I have Glenn, another mentor who I met in the industry, who we became friends. And then he obviously liked what I was doing with my business and how I ran my business, and worked out, that I needed some help from somebody that came from a banking background. So he could give me the different types of skills and mentoring that you don't know what you don't know, like,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
just the suggestions from him and Lynette about different struggles or different issues I'd have with my business. And, I'm quite an emotional being. So they're more factual. So, they come from a different angle of logic and facts. Whereas I'm the, oh my God, it's all emotional and it's really difficult and I've made a mistake or whatever it might be. They take that out of it and sort of, it's not criticizing. It's just how to do it better, or, how you could manage a certain situation. Because I think as business owners, yes, I'm a mortgage broker, but I'm a business owner. We sometimes have different struggles. So to have somebody that can take all the emotion out and just look at the facts can certainly keep you on that straight and narrow when you feel like, well, for me, when I feel like I'm, on the edge, so to speak.
Yeah, that is a really big draw card of a mentor, isn't it? They can just sort of swoop on in and say, hey, like, don't beat yourself up. Like, I've been here before. Like, this is how we go through this. Or,
Exactly, Britt. And I think sometimes too, friends, different. I have like they're my structured kind of mentors, but I also think we have mentors that we maybe don't realize we have. Do you know, like that you'll be talking to someone one day, a friend or a colleague, and in our industry we kind of come friends because it's all about relationships, and just something they might say or give you some advice on that you hadn't thought about, and you kind of go, oh yeah, that's really good. So it's kind of a soft mentoring. As Taylor's works in my business as a mortgage broker prior to having Sophia. Even she mentors me. So you don't sometimes realize the value of somebody else's skill set. And she's very different, Taylor, in how she operates and works to me. So we complement each other. So it's also having mentors or, business partners, colleagues that will complement you. They don't have to be the same as me. I'm fairly out there at the front end, whereas Taylor's really great at running the process and making sure everything's right in the back end because she's detailed. And I've learned I'm not detailed. I don't want to be detailed, right? But how you can complement each other and still she's still a mentor. It's just not something that you would look at from a practical sense and go, how many mentors do you have? I think we have more than we realise.
That's a very good point.
Yeah, I think you're right. Like I've been in conversations with some people and I haven't necessarily asked them for advice, but we just get talking and then I'm like, they're just sharing all this gold with me, like sharing all this stuff that I had no idea about. They're actually trying to assist me. This is awesome.
Yeah.
So it happens way more often than I think we're present to.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I agree.
I just wanted to touch on something you said earlier. It was about luck, and you said, I think you make your own luck. And I agree. And I'd like to kind of talk about it a bit more because, I've had situations where, I've been in the room and someone has walked into the room that's really important or that I'd like to know or to be mentored by. And I could just as easily let them walk out of the room. But I happen to be there and I'm present to the fact that that is a person that I would like to know or to be mentored by. And then you take the action to create that relationship. And that's not luck, like at all.
It is interesting because, like I said, over the years, and 26 years, you do success, and success is different to different people. So what success is to me could be completely different to somebody else. But, for me, I feel like I have a successful business. I turn up every day, I show up, I put in the hours. I also have a lot of rewards. And some people only see the rewards and they think you're lucky, it's easy. But yes, when I fell into this industry, I gravitated towards the number one broker in the industry. Obviously, I was very naive and, as I said, way out of my comfort zone. But when I realised that he was the best, I went, I want to work with you. I'm going to work with you. And I did. And then we've ended up becoming business partners. But I have worked. So when I say I made my luck, I was in the right place at the right time. But it certainly wasn't handed to me on a gold platter. I've worked for it. I've been fortunate to meet some really key players in my industry, and not just professionally, but on a personal level. So our industry is based a lot on relationships, because you're dealing from the client's perspective with someone's finance, and it's a very big moment for them, borrowing money to buy a house or getting someone out of financial hardship. It's a really big deal. So I don't take any of that lightly. So having the right contacts helps me sometimes be able to get something done for a client in a timely manner. So it's being yourself around these people. So they get to know you, and then you all you kind of gravitate towards each other. So I have created my own luck from somebody that I've gotten more confident over the years because I've got more knowledge about what I do.
Yeah. Yeah. And you've got an extensive network as well.
Yes.
So you can rely on those people.
Correct. And they can rely on me. It's two-way. It's not, we're all here to help, well, in my opinion, each other. Doing it on your own is quite lonely.
Very much so.
Yeah, it is. It's exhausting.
Yeah.
That's awesome. Thanks. It's true. So being a mortgage broker, the industry is fairly male dominated. Definitely in recent years, we've seen that women are entering the industry and not just being the admins, but also actually being brokers themselves. And I would assume back in 1998 that the females were very far in between and what they are now. So what was that like going into an industry, not knowing anything and being, male dominated?
Good question. And I have to say, I thought about this a lot tonight. I don't think I realised back then it was so male dominated. And it was very different because we weren't really brokers. We just worked for Aussie. Brokers sort of hadn't started then to the point they are now. So, it was heavily male dominated. I was at the time the only female broker, for want of a better word, loan writer there. But I think I look back, and even now I played that to my strength because being a woman at the time, and with Aussie we used to get leads, and some would specifically want to deal with women. So, being the only female, that played in my favour. And also a little known fact, or it might be known a lot, in most relationships, men, and I'm talking about heterosexual, male, female, the female makes all the purchasing choices, potentially runs the budget. So being a woman in a situation where people are buying homes, they tended to want to deal with me. Even though I was younger, because Ian and I, my business partner, used to advertise together, and he's older than me. So some people, when we'd have our photos and our names, they'd want to speak to him. Well, he's a man. He'll know more. He's older than you. But it was interesting, the demographics that I attracted. So I think it's come more to light recently, or in the last 5 to 6 years, that it is so male dominated. And that could be a reason why women don't join the industry, because it is predominantly been a lot of males that were bankers that got into broking, whereas broking hasn't really been a first choice of career for a lot of people. It could be like myself, I fell into it. Some people it's a second, third, or they're a banker going to broker. So, we are, as an industry, trying to attract more women. I've been doing a lot of work in that space. And I think some of the issues might have been around, some businesses are completely self-employed, so it could be income driven. Sometimes the female is the main caregiver, so time. So they want, they want to entering into an industry. But there is a lot more support. Women are being recognised a lot more in the industry, and like I said, for me, as much as I still am in a male-dominated industry. And we have people in every industry or in society that are just dinosaurs and don't think women should have careers. That is still a thing, which is disappointing. But for me, I guess I just stay in my lane. I know what I know. I look after the people that want to work with me, and I certainly embrace bringing women in. And I think if anyone has that small-mindedness that women, this is a male-dominated industry, have completely got it wrong, because they're missing out on a massive opportunity to work with some amazing women and obviously, run their businesses with more diversity.
Yeah. I love what you pointed out there. Like, the first thing you talked about was actually it played to my advantage, because I could service a whole segment of the market that just didn't feel comfortable talking to men.
Yeah.
Like, boom.
And I didn't realise that at the time. Sorry, I didn't realise that at the time. It's only reflecting on it. I went, you know what? That this is a flip situation.
And imagine, like, if every woman went with that into each industry and went, okay, so what? They're a man, but like, what do I bring, and how do I relate to people, and who are they going to want to do business with
Correct.
in a way that men don't do business, and like that just flips it on its head. And I think that if women, like, we can empower ourselves by doing that when we enter industries, rather than going, oh, like, I'm in a male dominated industry and like blame males. It's like, no, like, let's see the opportunity here.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. I think it's great being a woman.
Well, that's good.
I quite like it.
Yes. Yes. Me too.
Quite happy with it.
That's well, I'm glad, darling. That's good.
So, as a mortgage broker, obviously you like property. So you said you're a property investor. Obviously, I know you're a property investor. Tell us a little bit about your investing, what it's been like over the years.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I've had quite a few properties that I've lived in with, I've also had two breakdowns in relationships. So the first one obviously was with Tala's dad, and the second one was with Ella's dad. And with the second one, I walked away with my two businesses and nothing else, just the debt and them. So we had properties at the time, but in the settlement, my ex-husband got those. So, that was pretty hard in 2016, starting again without a property, because I'd always owned my own home from the age of 24. So I was fortunate.
Congrats, by the way. That's
Pardon?
a huge achievement. 24 and owning your own home.
Well, I had a mortgage, but, I was in the market.
Yeah.
Which was great.
You're playing the game.
Yeah, I was in the game. That's right. And then fortunately, my family, one of my siblings, approached them and said, look, I've got good income. I don't have a deposit. You want to do a JV with me? So we did a joint venture. And during the year of 2016, I made a promise that I would finalise my separation. I would buy myself a new car and I would buy myself another home. That was my 2016 year goal. And on the last day of 2016, we signed a contract on a house. Now, the house we bought was a knockdown rebuild. So we demolished a house, built a brand new house with the plan of selling, and I'd take my deposit and be able to then start again on my own. Unfortunately or fortunately, it didn't sell, so I ended up buying my siblings out, and I lived in that house until 2 years ago next month. And the market had boomed, so I sold out, and I decided I wanted to have a property in Melbourne and Sydney, which I didn't buy my own home again. I bought an apartment in Melbourne, in South Bank, and in Sydney in Haymarket, so in Sydney City, because I wanted to have investments that were going to grow in capital growth and return a good income, because I needed them to support themselves. So for me, they've been really good investments, and it also meant I could spread my wealth. So instead of putting all my money into one property, I could spread it and have it in two, and the tenants are obviously paying the rents on them. There are also properties that if I needed to or wanted to, I could live in. So for me, yes, they're investments, but I also was really, the brief with my buyer's agent was, I want 2 bedroom, 2 bathroom, 1 car. I want inner city apartment, and if I need to, I can live in it, which I haven't had to, and I may never live in them. But I also know that if something happens financially for me, and that we've always got risk with any type of investment, I've got somewhere to live. So that was my goal, and then the third part was buying my own home, which I have been renting in Kangaroo Point up until now, and I've just put a contract on a house to buy as well. So my plan with my investing for me has gone really well. I've worked hard, I've always put cash aside, but investing in that property with my siblings and being able to hold it, at the time I was disappointed because I wanted to move on quicker, but everything happens for a reason, and I ended up selling it at a really good time in the market. That's afforded me now to buy 3 properties. So I, A, spread my risk, B, created wealth without me having to work more. What I love about property is obviously it's tangible. You can see it. So first of all, you can see it, you can touch it, you can smell it, those kinds of things. But also someone has to live somewhere. Now, whether it's me living in them or a renter or whatever it is, people always need to live in a home. And if I go to sell those properties, someone will want to buy them because I'll either be entering the market or downsizing or, unfortunately separating and just need a smaller apartment. So property does for me, have a much better growth. And I know people are into shares and Bitcoin, and I get all that, but I like property, like I said, because you can live in it and you can see it and you can touch it. And if you look at the growth in property, it does grow. It always goes up in value if you buy and sell on the right market as well.
Yeah, that's really important, being able to know when the right time to buy is. Yeah.
Well, and sell, because if you buy on a high and sell on a low,
Yes. Yeah.
And, the property also is about the land, what you're buying. It's not always about the actual property on it. The land is what will appreciate as well in value.
Yes, so the capital growth in the property. I mean, some of my clients, they have properties that return them more rent than what they'll grow in value. So as an investor or as somebody in the market, you want to look at, what is it that is important to you in holding a property portfolio? Is it capital growth that you want to make a bigger return on the property when you sell it? Or do you want to make more money during the time you hold it in renting? Or is it both? So, that also is when you're buying, you want to understand the market to understand what your goal is with your wealth creation, because there are so many different strategies to also get it buying property. It's not one shoe fits all.
No. Yeah, wow.
Yeah, that's awesome. Cool. I guess another question was back to being in business or even in life. What was the biggest lesson you've learnt in business?
Pretty simple. It's be yourself. You really have to just be yourself. And there are times I think where we're not our authentic selves, and for me that doesn't sit well. Like in any industry and running any business, sometimes I feel like I feel like I'm too soft, because I always want to help people. I never say no. I want to make sure I look after my clients and my business partners and my team to the best of my ability. And sometimes my biggest weakness is my biggest strength, because I care. I genuinely care about the people that I am working for, which is my client, the people that I'm working with, which is my lenders and business partners, and my team. Because, without any of that, I don't have a business. So, yes, I need to make an income. I get paid very well from the banks when a loan settles. So, I need to earn a living. But for me, the biggest joy is telling someone I've got their loan approved, or, their home settled, or I've got them out of financial hardship. I mean, over the years, there's been tears and tantrums, and most of them are mine. But it's because I have to be myself. And when I'm not myself, my business falls apart. And I also learned something that only recently I've learned. For a long time, I felt like I was partnering with people because I needed them. They were way more experienced than me. They were way more successful than me. They were just better at this whole business than I was. And it's only been in the last, I would say, 8 to 10 months that I've gone, actually, you know what? I've realised it's me. They want to work with me because of what I bring to the table. So I think don't ever underestimate yourself and your own values, and, be yourself, back yourself, and surround yourself with people that have those same values as you.
Wow. How did you come to see that? Because after 25 years of doing it, that would be pretty challenging to notice.
A lot of it was my mum passed away last year.
Mm-hmm.
And something changed for me when she did. And it just made me reflect on a lot of stuff, and obviously her big belief in me and backing me. And then I just had moments of clarity where, I've spent a lot of time, I think, since she passed away, soul searching myself and, understanding a bit more about me and why she believed me so much, backed and believed in me so much. And obviously that's what mums do. They love you. I'm the same with my daughters and my nieces and, whoever but I just I had moments where I went, you know what, these people I've been working with, I felt like sometimes they just wanted something from me all the time. There were, I had to give all the time. And for the last 8 to 10 months, I've been a bit selfish, I guess. And I've gone, no, I can't do that. I don't want to do that. And what you're doing does not align with my values. And I'm actually I've realized by surrounding myself with my mentors again and keeping people really close, I've looked at my business and myself and gone, you know what, I'm actually pretty good at this. And, backing myself and having the success without, and without being arrogant. I don't believe I'm arrogant. I don't, go out there and say, oh my God, look at me. But my clients and the results I get for them speak for themselves. And that has made me realize that, I'm really good at this. And I do it for the right reasons because I care. I don't do it out of greed. I don't do it out of, being the number one broker in Australia. I do it because I genuinely care. And I'm really bloody good at it.
You are. You're super good at it. You're a
You're
whiz.
awesome.
Yeah.
Pardon?
You're a whiz.
Thank you.
And are you number one in Australia?
No, not by a long shot. Not by volume, Britt. I'm one of the, as a female, I'm well respected and I'm not trying to put gender in there, but, I am one of the leading female brokers,
Fantastic.
in Queensland, but in the country, I'm well known.
Yeah.
But like
Amazing.
I said, success is different for everybody. I don't need to be number one as long as I'm number one to my clients. And to my business partners and my team, I've realised that's what's really important. Because when we submit an application to a lender, we want one touch. We want it to go in and come out approved. We want to be that brokerage that is known for, hey, these guys know what they're doing. They're really good to deal with because they care, first of all. And secondly, they put together an application that makes sense, it works, it's clean, yet we want to deal with this person and her business. And she brings us really good clients. So, that to me is success.
Thank you, everyone, for listening to this week's episode. We have loved having Tracy sharing with us all her business insights, personal insights, property insights. And next fortnight, we will also have her on the podcast and she will be talking to us about Safe Haven. So make sure to check it out. Thanks again for listening. Please make sure you like and follow us on all social media. We'll talk to you soon. Welcome to the Women Unleashed podcast. Hello and welcome.